let's see if these books can help me get over my breakup. Hey, it's Marley. Welcome back to my channel, Type 1 Reader. I make videos about books and reading and sometimes about my life with type 1 diabetes. Today's vlog is going to be a reading vlog where I read 3 books to try to help me get over my semi-recent breakup. So this video is a little bit personal, obviously. About 2 months ago, I broke up with my partner of over 6 years. Obviously, it's been a couple of months. I have moved. I'm no longer living with this person, but I came up with this idea for a video. I didn't want to do it like right away when I was like right in the middle of it all, but I feel like this could be a fun little concept for me to do, cathartic, to kind of help me process my emotions, process everything that's happened, and read some books that can help me get over my breakup. So I'm gonna quickly tell you the 3 books I'm gonna be reading in this vlog, and then we can just get into it, see my thoughts on the books, see if I feel like they are helpful for people going through a breakup, maybe give advice, you know, if you guys are going through a similar thing, if I would recommend these books to you. And yeah, we'll just see where the vlog goes. So starting out, I knew I had to read at least one nonfiction book. Obviously, there's quite a few books out there that are written kind of as like self-help or recommendations for people going through a breakup. And the one I decided to go with is by BREAKUP and Amiira Ruotola-Behrendt. It's a husband-wife duo. It's called A Breakup Because It's Broken, The Smart Girl's Breakup Buddy. I mainly picked this one because it was pretty popular and it was available at my library, which is key. It's by the author of He's Just Not That Into You, which is of course a pretty well-known book. Yeah, this husband and wife duo who share their hilarious and helpful roadmap for getting past the heartache and back into the game. So this says, right now it's time to dry your tears, open this book to chapter 1, and start turning your breakup into a breakover. The ultimate survival guide to getting over Mr. Wrong and reclaiming your inner super fox. From how to pull yourself through he talks to how to throw yourself a kick-ass pity party, reframing reality and seeing the relationship for what it was, complete with an essential workbook to help you put your emotions down on paper and heal. Okay, a workbook. I don't know if my library like EPUB or audiobook will have that, but anyways, this is one of the books I'm gonna read. The other 2 are gonna be fiction. So the first one is really good actually, by Monica Heisey. Love the cover. I think I said in my TBR when I first shared this, like, I love how she's like a redhead like me. Gonna be relatable. And that's what this says, a hilarious and painfully relatable novel about one woman's messy search for joy and meaning in the wake of an unexpected breakup. And the author is apparently a comedian, essayist, and award-winning screenwriter, so I feel like this one should be pretty good. But it's about a girl named Maggie. She's broke, her thesis is going nowhere, her marriage only lasted 608 days. Okay, so she actually was married, but at the ripe old age of 29, Maggie is determined to embrace her new life as a surprisingly young divorcee. So I'm not technically divorced, but I am 29, so it's giving relatable. So now she has time to take up 9 hobbies. Maybe I'll try some of her hobbies. Eat hamburgers at 4 a.m. and get back out there sex-wise. With the support of her tough-loving academic advisor, her newly divorced friend, and her group chat, Maggie barrels through her first year of single life, intermittently dating, occasionally waking up on the floor and asking herself really tough questions along the way. So both of these I think could be, you know, therapeutic, but they also sound like pretty comedic as well, which I think would be good. And then for my third one, it's a little bit different. It's a bit more of a rom-com vibe because I also want something that's a little bit like uplifting. Well, the other ones sound uplifting, but like a little bit romantic. So I'm gonna go with 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone by Riccio. I've been a fan of Christine's videos on YouTube for years. I've read all of her books. This is her most recent release that I have not got to yet, but I thought it was perfect. Again, considering I'm turning 30 this year and I will most likely be single at that time, I just think this book could once again be relatable. I know it's about a girl who is determined to find her person. She's a columnist, therapist, podcaster, and entrepreneur, overachiever, blah, blah, blah. But she has 2 weddings coming up in 2 days and she needs to lock someone down to be her +1 because she was so confident that she was going to have her person. She had RSVP'd that like she was gonna have a +1, but she doesn't. So now she has to try to find a +1. And then we have the guy who is a writer, podcast producer, and wannabe actor. So he seems perfect, but the catch, he lives far away, so dating him would be like unrealistic. But then they have an unforgettable night together. She's sure it's the end, but as she braces herself for heartache, the universe, it seems, has other plans. So I know all Christine's books have some magical realism in it, so I am interested to see how that is going to go. So this is my TBR. I'm gonna kick it off probably today, and tomorrow I go on my first solo work trip. Really my first solo trip I've done. So I thought that was kind of fitting to be doing this vlog when I'm going on a solo trip, just really embracing my single era, doing things alone, being on my own. So anyways, I'll take you guys along with me for that, so I'm not completely alone. We'll see how these books go. Hey vlog, checking in. It's still the first day. I went on a long walk, which I'm gonna put clips in of, but I did get to 40% of, it's called a breakup because it's broken. So I thought I would check in before I leave for my trip tomorrow, because I'll probably finish the book during my travels. I have like a pretty long day of travel. So yeah, I am liking it. I do find that not all of it is super relevant for me and my situation, which makes sense. Like a lot of it is for people who were broken up with, which makes sense, whereas my perspective is more of someone who was the one to do the breaking up. So there's still stuff that's relevant, of course, but apparently a section is going to be coming up later in the book that is for people like me and more of my position as the one who ended the relationship. Just mentioning that, but there definitely is a lot of good advice, and I do just kind of like the voices of the authors. I feel like they have both had a lot of different experiences with breakups that have been a bit messy and where they have really struggled. So I do like hearing from them and their advice. And there are these fun little like jokes and funny stories throughout. And there are these little like exercises that I think I mentioned that obviously I'm not actually physically doing because I'm listening to the audiobook, but even just listening to them is kind of fun. Something that kind of scared me was they were talking about, I guess it's like a known thing that it takes you like half the amount of time that the relationship was to get over it. So like if it's 3 years, it would take a year and a half kind of thing. My relationship was over 6 years, so I'm kind of like, oh, it's gonna take 3 years to get over. Yeah, I mean, one of the main points is like that it just does take time to get over a breakup. Like that's really the only thing that will really help. They're talking about obviously having no contact, like do not talk to your ex, do not be calling them, texting them. There's obviously like reach out to your friends instead, use them for their support, staying healthy, making sure you're physically like staying healthy, staying active, staying busy, kind of all stuff that you would know, but it is still just kind of nice to read it. I think if you are going through a breakup, it would be nice to read a book like this just as little reminders. And they do give specific examples too for like things to do, which because it's an audiobook, I'm not really like, I wasn't really taking notes or anything on like the different suggestions that they have. If you're reading it, you could totally like actually take down their suggestions. So yeah, I am liking the book so far, and that's my thoughts for now, and I'll check in when I've completed it. Finally in my hotel room. Let's do a tour. All right, here's the bathroom. Hey, where's the light for this? Shower. the main room. We got the bed, a nice little couch living area, desk, TV, and then I have a little patio area too. Very cute. Okay, time to do a bookish check-in. Am I already burned here? Oh my gosh. I did finish it's called A Breakup Because It's Broken book on my flight here. Definitely should have chosen a different nonfiction for me personally in my situation. I would recommend this for someone who was dumped, maybe had a dramatic situation like it was cheating or something like that. Just so many of the examples that were used were more of that situation rather than someone who was the one that did the breakup. So I feel like I should have probably chose a book that was more about like adjusting to single life or something like that. But anyways, I did overall enjoy the book and rated it 3.5 stars because I think it was well done. I think it had good advice. The only thing is a lot of the examples, I was kind of just getting over them. I think they got real submissions from people sending in their experiences and a lot of them were just not relatable. So maybe for some people they would be relatable. Again, if you've had more of these crazy situations and like cheating and stuff. For me, it's like I'm not really relating to this, so it's lessening the impact. But overall, I think it's a good book that I would recommend for people going through a breakup. I just think for me, it was not as helpful as maybe a different nonfiction book could have been, but that's my bad. That's the one that I chose. And the audiobook was pretty good. It is the author's narrating, so I feel like that was a good way to consume the book. I did start 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone. I was having a good time drinking my little cocktail as I read it. We'll see as I go along, as I'm not drinking a cocktail and as I'm sober, but it is cute so far. But I'll do a full proper check-in once I've reached the halfway point and can speak a little more about it. All right, headed to the gala event. How's the dress? Let me know. Keep those hands up for tonight again. Even in another lifetime, baby. Okay, I'm sitting at a somewhat empty gate. I'm gonna pretend that I'm FaceTiming, but hopefully no one notices that I'm not. But yeah, I'm halfway through Christine's book. It's about a main character who's turning 30. So she turns 30 early on in the book. She thought she would have her person by then, like her life partner or whatever, but she doesn't. So she goes to a couple weddings, and at one of the weddings she meets a guy who is like great. She connects with him so much. They have lots in common, but then she finds out he lives across the country. It's a typical LA versus New York situation. So they agree to like start up some weird situationship where like they will, whenever they're in each other's state or city, they will hang out, they will date, but in the meantime there's other rules to the relationship. Like they're not going to text when they're like in between dates and stuff like that. I feel like I know that Christine, because I've been watching her videos and her book reviews. I know she's a fan of November 9th by Colleen Hoover, which has a similar premise of people who meet and agree to meet up every year without speaking in between. So I can tell that she was inspired by that for this book, but it is feeling a little bit silly. Some of the rules that the main character has come up with are feeling a little silly, a little forced when he's being very obvious that he likes her. And I know she has her own issues, but I'm like, girl, it's pretty obvious that he is really into you and he's making it really clear. She's making all these weird kind of rules. So that's kind of the setup of the book. And then there's the magical realism aspect, which I'm not going to reveal because it just kind of came in more recently and it's not mentioned in the synopsis or anything, but there's a kind of magical element to it that is pretty ridiculous. She's making it very, very kind of crazy and funny, which is kind of her thing, is being quite out there with some of her ideas and her humor. So that is an interesting element. I'm curious to see how it'll play out. The romance I like, but I also felt a little bit insta-love, and insta-love is something that is being talked about in the book, so I don't know if that's kind of on purpose, because basically they just have the one first night together. They're basically very sure of each other or at least he is, right? So it's feeling a little bit insta-love for me. Like I prefer a slow burn kind of situation. Also, it was making me feel a little bit lonely. Obviously, I've been on a trip alone. Well, I met a lot of people, a lot of fun, nice people on this trip. In terms of like being single and everything, I'm wondering if I shouldn't have read something that was so relatable. I thought the point of this vlog, I'm like, let me try and read about relatable characters. And I know I just said I didn't relate to the last book. So I thought going into this one where I can relate to the main character more, being single at 29/30, like it's actually making me feel a little bit more depressed. It's actually not really being uplifting. It's kind of making me feel sad that she's having this cute little romance and I'm not. So maybe this was not a good idea to do this vlog and to pick these books, or I think I chose the wrong books again, but we'll see. As her life gets more and more different from me with the magical realism stuff going on, like maybe it will be fine. But there's just certain times where I'm like, oh, like I wish this was happening to me, not her. But anyways, that's my halfway point. I'm at the airport. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. My first time being here. And then I'll be catching my flight back home to Toronto in about an hour or two. I'm home and I got a haircut. Let me know your thoughts below. I've been home like 24 hours and I don't think I ever mentioned where I was, but I was in Santa Barbara. In case you're wondering what all those views were, I was in Santa Barbara. Now I have a fresh cut and I'm here to update on 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone by Riccio. I did finish it. This is a really fun book, and if you've been following Christine's career, I feel like this is her best novel yet, probably. Although I really did like Attached at the Hip because that one was really fun for me specifically as a reality TV competition show lover, so I would recommend that one too. But this is technically her first adult book. I don't know if I mentioned that. Her other ones were more considered like for a younger audience. This one is steamier, which I think she was out of her comfort zone a little bit with that, and I think she did a good job with it. It is more mature, and overall I did end up enjoying this book quite a bit. Was tearing up in the acknowledgements just because I do know Christine as like a person as well, and I watch her podcast now and everything like that. But in terms of other things about this book, so it is kind of crazy. Like I think I was saying that before, but like the crazy goofy like funny scenes are like very goofy, where like it's gonna give you like secondhand embarrassment majorly. Like if you don't like to read about like secondhand embarrassment, like it makes you too uncomfortable to read that or whatever, you might not want to read this, because some of the like embarrassing scenes for our main character that are like supposed to be funny were like really crazy, like really crazy embarrassing, taking it to like some extreme levels for sure. And then some of the dramatic scenes, the drama scenes were like really dramatic too, where I'm like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening. So she really like goes all out with these plots. Like they're very eccentric in many different ways. That's something I'll say about this book, which you honestly wouldn't even think from the cover, because it's very like demure kind of cover. But I'm trying to think of other things I was saying before. Like when I was saying that it was too relatable, that it was triggering me a bit, it actually wasn't. Like the main character, Ricky, is actually pretty different from me, and in terms of her dating experience, she's never had a long-term relationship. Her longest relationship she's had was 5 months. She really has a lot of issues that keep her from getting close to people. It's things that I really don't relate to, obviously, as someone who's mainly been in long-term relationships in my life. So that issue I thought I was having of like, this is too relatable, it's triggering, like no, she was very different than me. She had very different flaws. She would compartmentalize things and like not be honest about things to people, which is definitely not me. Like if anything, I'm an open book and I overshare. I did enjoy reading about a character who, sure, there were some relatable things, but ultimately like I am a very different person than this main character. And it was interesting to read and really dive into like why she is this way. It's due to this trauma from her parents, all of this. I think there was some good character work done in this book, and I'm someone who thinks it is enjoyable to read from like an unlikable main character, and realizing Ricky is kind of like the antagonist in her own story. Well, it's really her dad. It is her dad, but like, or both of her parents, but I don't know. I just think this was a well-rounded book. The magical stuff kind of just goes away. I think I remember that happening in one of her other books too. Like it just kind of goes away. Like, I don't know, she just adds it in there for like a little random thing to make it more dramatic or more funny or whatever, but it doesn't end up being too huge of a thing. Something that did bug me about this book was the amount of names the main characters had. Both Ricky and Reed, the main guy and girl, had multiple names that they went by, multiple pseudonyms. It got to be a bit much, because remember I was saying they both had like multiple careers going on. It's almost like they have different names that they go by and aliases for like each of their careers, and it's like when they're also calling each other these different names, I don't really think that was needed. If anything, it would be a little confusing and just a little bit like kind of weird to me. And obviously those rules that Ricky was having in place in her relationship with Reed that I thought were weird, like that ended up, you know, minor spoiler, but that was kind of like the point of it, right? So I think I was critiquing like, this is so weird to have these rules in place when you're dating, and it's kind of like, yeah, that was the point. That was the point. I do find with all of her novels though, they do kind of like keep going on, keep going on. This is over 400 pages, or about 400 pages for a rom-com. Always kind of gets at the end where you're like, all right, wrap it up, wrap it up. So those are some of my critiques. So I think, you know, I didn't officially rate it yet, but I'd probably give it 4 stars, which is the same thing I gave Attached at the Hip. I think, you know, it was well done. And yeah, are there still cringy moments in here? Sure. Can you still really see Christine in here and that she's putting a lot of her life in here? Yes. But you know what? I do think it was good. Was it a good book to read going through a breakup? You know, I actually think yes. Again, Ricky had some relationship problems that are relatable, being 29 and 30 and single, but also stuff that was not relatable, and I did actually like that, and I did think the relationship was cute. Not like the most swoon-worthy romance I've ever read, like I wasn't obsessed with Reed or anything like that, but it was a good book. I'm excited to move into my 3rd book and also move into the weekend, and I'll try to keep vlogging my life as well. I have a few different events going on this weekend that I'm doing solo, riding solo, so I'll try to film that if I remember to. Okay, let's do a haul of what I got at the farmer's market and book fair event. I wish I could have vlogged more, but I just feel so awkward vlogging at events like that. Like if you're not buying from like the vendor, like to film it just feels a bit weird. So I got this soy candle at the farmer's market. I got some cheese. Should I show that? Do people care? I got some cheese that tasted pretty good when I sampled it. What did he say? It was like Gouda and Swiss combined. And then I got some tomatoes and asparagus, so you don't really need to see that. At the bookish event, there were a lot of local authors, and I was talking to some of them about their books. I just feel so bad like when I don't buy them and they get so excited like clearly talking to me about their book. So I got a few like free bookmarks from people who I listened to their little spiel about the book, and then they gave me one of their bookmarks. Oh, here's another one. And then, oh, and this girl even let me take a free sticker. So I got this little tarot, the reader. And then something I did actually buy was this little magnetic bookmark. I actually don't think I have a magnetic bookmark. So I just thought, you know what? I want to support someone here. So just one more chapter. Thought that was pretty cute. And then there was something I actually was wanting for my junk journal. I haven't done my May spread yet, but I got multiple like housewarming cards. And so I was like, how am I gonna like put all of my cards into my junk journal spread? This lady was selling these like pre-made little like card slots that you can literally put into your journal, and then I can like slot the cards in, and it was like $1. So I'm like, sure. And then I got another one just because maybe for the future, if I want to do something similar, and it has like the tarot kind of cards on it. So I could definitely use this like for a future spread. Where did she put the tape that she gave me? Okay, it's in there. So that's the mini haul. Oh, and then I ate some empanadas. I don't think I filmed it, but I can put a photo. They were pretty good as well. So that's been my morning.
I know the DJ and I love this song.
another haul. I was at a type 1 event earlier today. I didn't film a lot of it, but it was a walk for raising money for type 1. I did raise over $500. But anyways, I got a bunch of free stuff there as well from the vendors. Sorry if I'm a bit low energy. My blood sugar, ironically, I'm having some trouble getting it up. I don't know if I should eat more. I'm just gonna see if it goes up in the next few minutes. Got this drink that is like a sparkling water, which I don't like sparkling water, but we're gonna try it anyways at some point because there's only 6 grams of carb and I thought it was cute and it was free, so we'll try that. I also got this other drink, Glucerna, which is apparently good for people with diabetes, but there's over 20 carbs in it, so I don't know. I don't know when I'll eat this, but I guess there's some protein and carbs and fat in this. So I guess when I feel like having like a little shake, a little vanilla shake. Other food item, I'm excited for this, Farm Girl cereal. So this is 0 sugar cereal, which I only got one time when I was in the US. They don't sell this at like regular grocery stores, like 0 sugar cereal. But I would like to buy more of it because it's just, cereal is so good, but I just like cannot eat it. It's so high carb. It just really messes with my blood sugars. So I got the cinnamon flavor that they had. They had a few different flavors, but I went with cinnamon. What else? Oh, and then the final like thing you can eat, Dex. Yeah, my blood sugars must still be low. A Dex 4 fast-acting glucose. So maybe I should eat this right now. But I went with the strawberry flavor. But I think this is like, yeah, this is a glucose tablet, which basically is more for like in an emergency. Like if I were passed out, you could put one of these in my mouth and then it will like disintegrate and like I'll consume it. So it's more for like emergencies. So I don't really want to actually have it right now. So it feels like there's actually quite a few little pieces in here. So I'll have to maybe keep this on me, like in my purse or something for when maybe I'm low and it's an emergency. Then there was some brand called Endor and they were giving away a couple different things. So now I have like a little white bucket hat that says Endor. That's cute, I guess. I also have a tote bag now that says Endor. I mean, I guess you can always use a new tote bag. A water bottle that says Endor. They really were giving away a lot. Oh, and I think these glasses were also from them. I also, from my pod supplier, so I'm with Omnipod, and they had some stickers. So I was like, perfect, I'll get that because, you know, I'm a junk journaler. I am behind on my junk journaling, but I think maybe I could use this. I kind of want to do a diabetes spread. And then they also were giving away, I guess they created this like diabetic superhero comic, which is kind of cute. Maybe I'll read this at some point. But yeah, having a diabetic superhero, that's lovely. I also got this, I forget what these are called. It's a trendy like squishy toy. I know my friend told me about these. I still have to take it out of the package, but it feels pretty good to squish. And then finally, I also won this cape, or not won, but if you raised $250, you got a cape. So I did get a cape. I didn't bother pulling it out and wearing it. But yeah, this is the organization, Breakthrough Type 1. Together we walked. That's my haul. And then I ended up winning passes to, there was this book event going on in Toronto. It's like crime mystery thriller event. I didn't end up going, but I entered a contest online to win passes to go. I ended up winning, but I didn't go, obviously. You saw my weekend and that I did not make it there. But since I was downtown for the diabetes walk, I was like, I'll just stop by because I won, along with the passes, I won a book prize pack. So I'm like, let me go get the book prize pack. Even though I did not attend, I did not use these badges. Let's see, I didn't look yet. So it's gonna be a live reaction to what books I got. There's 5 books in here. So let's see, ooh, let's see what I won. Okay, oh no. Oh no. Okay, I might be giving some of these away. No offense. No offense. Okay, so we have this little card. That's cute. Oh, speaking of something for my junk journal. That's cute. It says, thank you for participating in our Motive giveaway. We hope the festival is full of suspense, surprise, and mystery. Enjoy the show. The Tifa team. I'm sorry, I did not actually attend. There were only a few authors I was interested in, but anyways, okay. So these are the books that we have. So The Couple Next Door by Sherry LaPena. So obviously I have read all of Sherry LaPena's work. She was one of the authors at the event I was interested in, but I have already met her and done a signing, so I didn't bother. I of course do own this book, so I will probably give it away, give it as a little gift. Then we have Frame 37 by Nicholas Shakespeare. here. Okay, I'm gonna have to open this up, or I should have taken a picture before. Whatever, who cares? I'll just open it. Frame 37, Nicholas Shakespeare. It's not really looking like something I would typically read. Ex-journalist John Dyer must take on a dangerous political conspiracy in order to bring his friend's killer to justice in this gripping thriller. I'm not really into like political conspiracies, but okay, I have that one now. Then we have The Maid and The Maid's Secret by Nita Prose. The Maid was one of my least favorite books of the year that I read it, and I did used to own it, and I have given it away. I think I put it in a little free library. So don't really love getting this or the sequel, but I guess I can go put these in other little free libraries or gift it to people in my life. But yeah, I do not plan on reading those. And then, okay, our last one, maybe this is the best. The Chambermaid's Key by Genevieve Graham. A dazzling novel about a young chambermaid and a handsome waiter serving high society at an elegant hotel, and the shocking murder that will change the course of their lives and reverberate almost 100 years later. Okay, so there's some historical, but there's also the present day. So this is probably most promising. Like, I probably would read this. So out of the 5 books, there's one I would maybe read. If any of my friends are watching this, let me know if you want any of those other books I showed. Okay, it's probably about time for a bookish update right about now. I'm 55% of the way through. Really good, actually. And I'm having a honestly fantastic time reading this book. I think it's definitely my favorite book of the vlog. So in a way, I'm kind of happy I saved it for last. As I've already talked about, it's about, why do I forget the main character's name every time? Whatever, it's about our main character. She's 29 and she just got a divorce from her husband, or they've separated technically. I think it was her who technically brought up the idea of separation, like they were just unhappy, but he like went for it and now they're like no contact and he's not answering her. So she's kind of feeling like the one who was rejected, even though it was kind of mutual. Anyways, this one is coming across as like a way more relatable experience for me, and I'm sure lots of people. Their relationship was 10 years, it was long term, and then they were just married the last couple years, but she was with him from 19 to 29. So I do think if you're someone who like was in a relationship throughout all of your 20s or most of your 20s, like you would definitely get something from this. Like I am. Yeah, just the experience she's going through is way like definitely relatable for me, even for like past breakups that I've had as well. And what's funny is that this actually takes place in Toronto. I didn't realize the author was from Toronto, but that's where the character is living as well. So it's just kind of that extra element of like relating to the character. Yeah, we're just seeing her grieve the relationship. It's comedic. Like she does some things that are pretty extreme and pretty cringy and embarrassing for sure. Some of like all of her texts to her ex and her calls, and he has not answered her. He just does not answer her. So there's things like that that are just a bit, you know, exaggerated. But, you know, her being on the dating apps, which is something I did last time I was single. I have not done that this time. And her different phases that she's in and her friends. I don't know. Like, I don't need to explain every single thing, but I just want to say this is a good book and I would definitely recommend it for people going through breakups or in similar situations to feel less alone and be like, oh, this girl's really struggling, like more than I am. So yeah, it's a good time. She has met a nice bloke. She has met a guy. So I don't think it's like typical romance. This is definitely more like literary fiction, whatever, but she has met a man. I don't know how things are gonna go. He is a nice guy, seemingly, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it might be one of those cases where like if you had a breakup that was dramatic, that was a cheating situation, read that first book that I read. Or if you had a situation where the relationship just ended for many different reasons, it just kind of broke down, you were with them for many years kind of thing, like in this book, then I would definitely recommend this one. And then I guess if you are like Ricky from 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone, like you have never had a relationship that really was very long at all, and you feel very like forever alone, whatever, then that book I guess would be for you. So we're reading a range here, and this one is definitely my favorite so far. But my next update will be when I have finished it. Hey vlog, I'm here to end my breakup vlog because I did finish really good actually yesterday. And honestly, I'm gonna rate it 5 stars. I think that's a little bit crazy, and I think it's only because I read it at this certain time in my life where I just was really connecting with the story and the characters. I don't necessarily think it's like gonna be a 5-star read for a ton of people, but I think for me, I did end up just really enjoying it. And just as I've already said, I would highly recommend this, especially if you think you would relate with the main character at all and going through a breakup from a long-term relationship. Is that a shadow that I'm seeing? Okay, I think it's a shadow. I don't like how that's looking. Put it like this. It was really nice how the author incorporated like all of these different coping mechanisms that people will go through when they're going through a breakup. I already mentioned like getting really into the dating apps and just kind of other unhealthy coping mechanisms. And then you see the main character, Maggie, I did remember her name, Maggie, start to find some healthy coping mechanisms, you know, getting really into like her health and working out and all of the different phases that she goes through. And then, you know, as you would expect, she ends up in a really nice, healthy place. I just think it was a really beautiful story, and it'll help you feel better about yourself because she gets to some extremely low lows that maybe can help you feel better about yourself if you're going through a low. But I also think it can be inspirational for you to know like it will get better, you know, and to appreciate your friends, spend time with them, work on yourself, and all that kind of stuff. So that's gonna end my getting over my breakup reading vlog. Kind of awkward topic, but I am glad that I read all 3 of these books. I think I've thoroughly explained all of them. I think you know what you're getting into if you want to pick up any of these books. You should hopefully know which ones you would probably connect with the most based on your own experiences. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Maybe tell me about a book that you think would help during a breakup. Maybe tell me your worst breakup story you've ever had. I don't know. Something to go with the theme. You can like and subscribe as well, obviously. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I hope if you're going through a breakup, you are doing okay. It will get better. You're doing great. I'll catch you soon with a new video soon.